Now, some examples that I've seen as interesting applications of secret sauce, I think of Apple Computer specifically tied to Steve Jobs. His secret sauce was his ability to blend technology and design. It was very unique in the world, specifically at that time.
In this episode, we uncover the secret sauce of successful entrepreneurship, those unique, hard to replicate elements that give businesses their competitive edge and lasting impact. Please subscribe to our podcast to stay updated, and for more information, visit our website at profspirit.com. Also, if you know someone who might enjoy our content, please share our podcast with them to help us grow.
The Let's Get Entrepreneurial podcast is your ultimate launch pad for igniting ideas and skyrocketing your entrepreneurial dreams. Your two hosts will be Professor Gary Palin and serial entrepreneur Ryan Budden.
Well, hello, Ryan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. What about you, Professor Palin?
Busy as always.
I love to hear that. Busy keeps us engaged, keeps the energy moving.
What would you do if I said, I'm not busy at all, I have nothing to do, but my feet are up on the lounge?
I would think that you were lying to me, knowing you. We've been doing this long enough that you keep busy no matter what.
Ryan, today I wanted to talk about a concept called the secret sauce. A number of people haven't heard of this. They'll understand the concept when we discuss it. But just in the vernacular of entrepreneurship, it's referred to as the secret sauce. It's a unique blend of qualities, strategies, and practices that distinguishes a successful business from its competitors. Basically, it's what makes the business uniquely effective and gives it an edge.
Right. What are you only going to know if you've been doing it for long enough and you're in that company?
It's very important to differentiate yourself from your competition. I've spoken with many people that will want to start a business and they create what's called a Me Too business. It's just like the one down the street. They're just creating another competitor in the marketplace with nothing different. And I make that akin to a shin kicking contest. I have to enunciate that very clearly. SHIN, a shin kicking contest. Because if you get in a shin kicking contest, even if you win, it hurts like hell.
Right. There's nobody that comes out in a shin kicking contest. That's exactly right.
You want to very much be thinking of, before you launch the business, ask that question is, do I have a secret sauce? How can I develop a secret sauce? What will make me unique and give me a competitive advantage?
You've made an important distinction here while we're defining this thing that we're calling a secret sauce, and that's differentiation. So a lot of people think that their differentiation, what makes them unique in the marketplace, is their secret sauce. And that's not. What makes you different is what people can from the outside say, they're doing this thing differently than everybody else. The secret sauce is what's only known. It's not visible and it's not knowable by someone outside of the organization. It's what you're holding as secret and what is making you successful.
When I'm thinking of secret sauce, I look at three distinct areas, and we can discuss them one at a time. But the three are innovation being one, branding being the second, and customer experience being the third. Innovation goes to that, are you using some type of innovative method, process, technology to differentiate yourself, as we just said? And are you solving your customers' problems? And are you creating value utilizing that innovation distinct from what your competitors are or can do?
That's a great way of putting it, actually.
Now, branding is another way to create a secret sauce. Branding, you can create an emotional connection, develop customer loyalty and retention. A premium perception can be used with branding, say like a Rolex watch. Consistent identity. For example, when you're traveling and you want to stop to get a bite to eat, you could stop at one of the franchises and you know what you're going to get. It might not be the highest quality food, but there's a consistency. Versus if you see a sign flashing that says eats, you have no idea what's in there. Branding, again, it goes to a consistent identity, providing a market differentiation. So the market is perceiving you differently from your brand.
I like that perception, right? The market perceiving you differently. It's something that you have to keep your eye on. And often I find myself working with startups where that's the case. They internally know exactly what they're doing. They're on the same page, but that doesn't always translate to the outside world.
A great example of branding is Coca-Cola. I believe they have the most recognized brand in the world, or at one point they did.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't have any metrics to back that up, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Very often branding is overlooked as a secret sauce, but if you focus on that, you have to be very consistent with it. Branding can be a key advantage. Now, the third one is the customer experience. And this is very commonly used as a secret sauce. With that customer experience, you want to personalize the customer experience. You want engagement with the customer and feedback from the customer. You want to be able to quickly and effectively problem solve, come up with a resolution for the customer. And again, you want consistent quality. And very important, if you can exceed expectations, that can be an advantage in the secret sauce from customer experience perspective.
We've all had experiences where this is the secret sauce, where you've interacted with a company in such a way that you leave thinking, I'm going to be a lifelong customer. They've thrilled you. And then we've also all had the opposite, where they haven't emphasized this enough in their secret sauce, and you leave that customer experience feeling, I am never going to do business with these people again.
Now, some examples that I've seen as interesting applications of secret sauce, I think of Apple computers specifically tied to Steve Jobs. His secret sauce was his ability to blend technology and design. It was very unique in the world, specifically at that time.
Absolutely. At that time, I think it was revolutionary. Anyone my age or older will probably remember the Apple address with him in his black turtleneck on the screen showing what the iPhone was for the first time. It changed the way we perceive interaction with technology. And it was because of that design focus.
Now, another different type of secret sauce, but very effective, was Howard Schultz in Starbucks. He created almost a third home or workplace where people could relax, enjoy coffee, and feel a sense of community. So he created an environment around coffee.
That is a nice way of putting it. I wonder, because coffee is so integral to, I would even say, like the human experience at this point. So if he can be credited at all for shifting that focus, that's got to be one of the craziest examples of secret sauce ever.
Now, an example that we could personalize, one that you and I have mentioned in our podcast episodes quite a bit, is the work we're doing with the Janus Entrepreneurial Assessment, where we can measure an individual's entrepreneurial tendencies on 7 scales. We have a secret sauce, which is the algorithm. We worked very hard at developing the algorithm. It's very unique. It can be replicated, but it's not going to be replicated in a day. Good luck on that one, because it took us a number of years to be able to bring that algorithm to a sophistication and a uniqueness. So that's a secret sauce that we hold.
Without a doubt. And even if someone was to replicate it, I doubt they would do it exactly the same way that we have. And a huge part of that is probably our biggest secret sauce in the Janus Entrepreneurial Assessment, and that's your tenure in entrepreneurial education. Without that, I don't know how they could possibly get close to replicating the results that we get.
Thank you very much for acknowledging that. That expertise is very, very helpful in blending that. If we took the blend of my experience plus the algorithm, that's almost impossible to replicate. There are a handful of people in the world that could combine those two, but it's not easily done. Someone walking off the street is not going to be able to replicate that secret sauce.
And that's what ultimately I think will drive success for us, and is driving success for us, is the quality of the output that you get.
Now, there are challenges in maintaining the secret sauce. It's difficult enough to determine what your secret sauce is and to execute the secret sauce, but then to maintain it over a period of time is another challenge. Maintaining the quality and consistency of that secret sauce is something you must focus on. You have to adapt to new markets, because the only constant in business is change. There will always be change, and so you have to adapt to the new markets to make sure that secret sauce is still pertinent. Or do you have to adjust that? A cultural dilution can be an issue, so the culture shifts can impact your secret sauce. Market saturation and competition. More and more people are coming in, the market gets saturated. Again, you have to focus on keeping that secret sauce as a major point of differentiation as more and more competitors come into the market. You also have resource constraints. Isn't that always the case in anything with business? Do I have the resources? And as I'm dealing with these cultural shifts, market shifts, I have to make sure I have enough resources to apply my secret sauce to these ever-changing environment. Financial pressure. That's always, again, an example that ties in with the resource. complexity of the operation. If you have a secret sauce that has a complex operational issue, juggling that is always a challenge. The last one many people don't think about is regulatory challenges. So if there are shifts in regulations, that could directly impact your secret sauce. I was working with a startup that was doing training on Novell certification. They had a business that was rocking and rolling. And what they did is, I forget exactly how they did this, but they just advertised in the local newspaper when people read newspapers way back when, we're talking quite a few years ago, people would come and pay for the certification and training. Well, they wanted to expand to Atlanta. I have no idea why they picked Atlanta, but they did. And they opened up an office, got all the equipment, all the infrastructure, and they went to the local newspaper. There was a regulation prohibiting that type of advertisement in the newspapers. So their secret sauce of how they marketed got shut down because of a regulation, and they had no idea. They had to make an assumption, which the assumption was flawed because they hadn't researched. And then they had to basically come up with a new way of marketing or a new secret sauce, and they weren't able to do it, and that market failed for them.
Wow. I wonder for the people listening who are either have started a business that's a small business or are thinking about it, it'd be a great exercise to try and write this secret sauce down. Because I think one of the key parts of this, at least to me, and I'd be interested in hearing if you disagree with this, is the secret sauce should be something that's definable. It can't be this ethereal, we do things a little bit differently here. It should be something that you could write down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I would even go beyond that. I would say document everything. It's written down. People can understand exactly what you're doing. Now, granted, you want to protect some of that, like the Coca-Cola secret formula. Only a handful of people know this. You want to have the key people understanding and able to review the secret sauce by documenting the entire process.
Right. And Coca-Cola is an extreme example because it's literally a recipe. Most businesses don't have a series of definable inputs like a recipe. They have a strategy or a process or system that they've put in place that makes that secret sauce up.
And it's important if the secret sauce is evolving around some type of intellectual property, make sure you're protecting that intellectual property.
That's huge. We've actually done a podcast episode on intellectual property. It's an enormous field that should be taken very seriously, especially if your secret sauce is duplicatable but secret, and that's the only barrier that's stopping somebody else from using it.
If your secret sauce is revolving around branding, as we discussed earlier, you want to make sure you have strong brand guidelines. Consistent. Everyone knows what are the guidelines to this brand. No one's going off in a different direction, pushing things that are not generally associated with the brand. That causes confusion among your customer base, and it dilutes your secret sauce of branding.
And confusion of your customer base, as we regularly harp on in these podcast episodes, is not a good thing. Knowing your customers and having your customers know exactly what you're trying to tell them is a key to business success, no matter the size or scope of the business.
I agree 100%. Well, those are the areas that I wanted to address with secret sauce. Do you have any additional issues that you would like to speak before we conclude?
You have listed quite an exhaustive list here. The one that I feel I'm under a large obligation to bring up are things like code bases. Because I'm primarily in the technology industry, protecting secret sauces that can be algorithms that are developed. I mean, I guess we kind of did touch on that, but actual code bases are a huge amount of it. We can go on to somebody's web app or mobile application and take a stab at recreating that. But how it functions on the back end is quite often the secret sauce for technology companies. So making sure you're protecting that and keeping it up to date is a huge operation. It's time consuming and cost consuming.
And I would say today it's more important than ever from the coding perspective and make sure that you have all of your coding and IP protected, because AI can go in and replicate so quickly as opposed to how it was done a number of years ago.
AI is getting good at it, especially from a visual perspective. AI is getting very good at it. The back-end engineering that makes successful platforms work is still relatively protected from AI, but it's not long. I mean, AI is continuously getting better and better.
How I interpret what you just said is what I refer to as reverse engineering.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
If someone can take it apart, see how you built it, and then replicate it, that's what the concept of reverse engineering. You want to make sure you're protected, and it's very difficult for someone to do that, if not impossible.
If not impossible.
What I would suggest in conclusion is anyone that's driving a business or thinking of creating a business, stop and really think very carefully about the secret sauce. Do you have one? Or how can you apply the concept that you're looking at developing with your business to create a secret sauce? If you can master that and move forward with the secret sauce concept, you are miles ahead of your competition, because many people don't think in these terms and they develop what I call Me Too businesses.
Yeah, Me Too businesses are hard, right? The same example would be loss leader businesses. So people that are trying to compete on cost. It's a very difficult sphere to play in, and not many winners come out of it.
Anybody that's looking to compete on cost, when I'm talking about businesses, first words I ask them is, can Walmart sell what you're trying to sell? And if you're trying to compete on cost against Walmart, good luck to you.
Right, right.
In conclusion, I would just ask everyone to please subscribe to the Let's Get Entrepreneurial podcast and visit profspirit.com for more information.
Absolutely. If you're finding this useful, tell a friend about it. Most likely, if they're your friend, they'll find this useful as well, and that's going to really help us support us.
That sounds like a game plan. Well, let's get entrepreneurial.
Let's get entrepreneurial.
We extend our gratitude for your presence and attention. Check out profspirit.com to discover resources and courses designed specifically for innovators like you. Stay on the cutting edge by following us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and other platforms as it is released. Until then, keep the entrepreneurial flame burning.